I was asked to do a talk on running by Lululemon in their Guildford store, and I was going to be joined by my friend and colleague, Dan Hughes, who is an ambassador for Lululemon. Sadly, we're not allowed to do that at the moment, obviously, because lockdown has got in our way. So we decided to team up over Zoom and say, okay, can we break our talk down into small snippets that we can put out there into social media and email out that people can listen to and act on at their own leisure. Our first part of the talk today will be people who are either new to running or are restarting running after a period of time. We've all got a bit more time on our hands at the moment, and I've certainly seen more and more people out running, which I think is fantastic. But let's, if we are going to be out there running, let's do it safely and let's look after our bodies. Quick bit of background about me. I'm a sports science graduate who then became a physiotherapist. I love everything about the body. I've got a special interest in functional anatomy, movement patterns and how the body works. Today, naturally, we'll be talking about running, and I'm looking forward to giving an overview of a few things that you can think about before you start or restart running. I'll let Dan introduce himself now.
I'm Dan Hughes, based in Surrey. I'm ex-military, and now I focus my time and effort on personal training and in particular strength and conditioning. Also fell in love with running and just exercise in general. And now I am a Lululemon ambassador with the Guildford store, and my journey carries on from there.
Thanks, Dan. So from my perspective, I'm going to talk briefly about the body and how the body is going to react as you either get into running or you are restarting running. When you do get back into running, you've got to listen to your body. You've got to make sure, are you feeling any aches and pains? Are you feeling anything that doesn't quite feel right? When you do run, you do get the sensation that it's quite tough, but it's a tough thing to do to get into running. So there's a difference between the run being tough and actually having sorenesses or aches and pains that are going to stop you or going to hinder you making any progress. I'm going to give you 3 simple tests to take away today, to test before you're starting to run or to test in between runs to see how you're getting better. First simple test is, can you stand on one leg? Stand on your left leg, then stand on your right leg. Do they feel the same? You want these to feel symmetrical. If they're not feeling the same, which one's more difficult? Now, the one that's more difficult, I'm going to encourage you to stand on that leg in your daytime hours as much as you possibly can. Brush your teeth standing on the one leg. Do the washing up standing on the one leg. Help out around the house standing on one leg. It's the best thing to do to encourage balance and control around the side that was slightly more unbalanced than the opposite side. Number 2 test, standing on one leg and a small bend of the knee. When you do bend the knee, can you control it? Can the knee go over the top of the toes? Can you make sure that when it does go over the top of the toes, it can go as far as it's going to need to go when you run, and you can control that movement both down and up? If you can't control that movement, you could be putting your knee in jeopardy with running, because this is a movement that's going to have to happen time and time again as you increase your running distance and time. The third point is very similar. Can you lunge? Can you put your right foot in front of the left foot and bend at the knee and go over the top of the ankle and come back up again? Can you do the same on the left? Does it feel the same on both sides? Can you control both sides? Now, if you can't control both sides, work out which one you can't control and practice doing smaller lunges on that side and gradually build them up until they reach the opposite side. If you're having trouble on both sides, we want to be a bit careful. If you're not controlling the lunge, why aren't we controlling the lunge? Do we have a bit too much movement at joints somewhere, or do we have not enough movement at joints somewhere? Or are the muscles just not well enough controlled and well enough conditioned to get those movements working? Running is basically one lunge after the other. So when it's one lunge after the other, you need to make sure you can control this, and you need to make sure you're doing it as well as possible. I'm going to hand over to Dan now, who's going to talk about the strength and conditioning side of getting into running.
So very similar to you, Dave. We always want to start from the best position possible. Now, I'm seeing so many people out and about at the moment running because it's pretty much the only thing that they can do. And it's a case of they, very much just put their trainers on and just gone out for a run. And sometimes it's not necessarily the best thing to do. Obviously, we both love running, but we want to start from the best place as possible. So, like Dave said, just evaluate your body. Just make sure that we can do those three tests. And just make sure we don't have sort of any niggles or injuries before we start, or nothing that's really going to hinder your running. For me, as a strength and conditioning coach, It's really important that we do have a good aerobic base or good cardiovascular fitness, because that's going to put us in the best position to start running. Now, if you are a little bit overweight or you're very unfit, you know, it's going to put you in some awkward positions. It's going to change the way you would run naturally. It's going to put a lot of impact through your joints and muscles. So try and improve your aerobic base through cycling, walking, or anything we can do at the moment before you do go into running. Next thing for me, I would always say, is just have a bit of structure or some sessions in place. So couch to 5Ks are great because it's going to introduce walk-run sessions. So you're going to walk a little bit, you're going to run a little bit. That can either be based on time or distance, depending on your ability. And that's going to improve over time. So you're going to start running a little bit more, start walking a little bit less. And then hopefully over time, we're going to be running for a period of time without stopping, without walking. And that's going to improve our performance and our overall health. Next is going to be just making sure that we do take our recovery days. And I think Dave is on board with this one as well. I think it's so important. It's, you know, you're going to work hard, and especially as a new runner, your body is going to feel really sore and stiff and achy the next day. So just make sure you are taking those recovery days. Just because, you know, so-and-so is running every day, it doesn't mean that you should be running every day. So just take into account your own ability, and make sure that we are having some recovery and refueling appropriately. And finally, one of my big points is just going to try and make sure that you have in place some level of cross-training. So by cross-training, I mean a strength training program, which incorporates lower body, core, and your upper body, okay? So you're going to increase your stability of your body and your control and your coordination, which is going to cross over to running so well. It's like Dave said, if you do have that coordination, that stability, you know, to lunge after lunge after lunge and run, you are setting yourself up for success and increase your running performance. So they are my sort of main points as a new runner or a newbie runner. So I'll pass you back over to Dave. He's got a few other points I wanted to touch on as well.
Thanks, Dan. So absolutely, great stuff. We want to get strength, we want to get control. We want to make sure that we're helping you to run as best you possibly can. There are a couple of elements you do need to think about. Number one is, do you have past injuries and past problems that may come up and bite you in the butt? It's possible that they are things to listen to, and certainly do be sensitive to any past ailment that's been there. Because if you do start running and something flares up that's been there historically, it's obviously not going to be happy with the pattern of running that you've adopted. Talking of running patterns, there's so much information out there about how to run. Should you hit your heel first? Should you land on your toes? Fundamentally, if you're starting to run, just go run in whatever pattern you feel is comfortable. Everyone does have their own natural running pattern. And yes, at the elite level, we can start to change running patterns and start to change how people are hitting the floor. But fundamentally, some people are naturally better suited to landing on their forefoot. Some people are better suited to landing on their heels. Go out, give it a try, see what feels comfortable. Final thing around that is footwear choice. So when you are going out for a run, do make sure you do have a pair of running trainers on. You don't have to go to a running shop, and in fact at the moment you can't go to running shops to get some fitted. Fundamentally what you want to get is you want to get a good robust running shoe with a lot of thickness in the sole, with a lot of sponge in there. And I would get a standard neutral running trainer rather than with any supports in different places. The more spring and support you have in the foot, the more control it gives you around the foot, so the less hard you have to work to control the foot as it lands on the floor. Particularly if you've got a positive test of any of the 3 tests I've asked you to do, you definitively have to think about the footwear you're wearing. So I'm going to recap my 3 tests that I gave you earlier. Number 1 is standing on one leg. If you do stand on one leg, which one's harder to stand on? Whichever one is harder to stand on, go practice standing on that leg. Number 2, small bend of the knee while you're standing on the leg. As you do bend that knee, can you control it? Can you keep the knee going in a straight line, or is the knee wobbling around? If the knee's wobbling around, practice doing smaller bends that you can control and gradually bend further and further and further. The final one is lunges. When you lunge on the right and lunge on the left, do they feel the same? Do they feel symmetrical? And can you control a knee going over the top of the ankle? If you can't, again, start with smaller lunges, less depth, gradually increase the length of the lunge, increase the depth of the lunge. Practice it until you can do them repeatedly, because the more repetitions you can do, the better you're going to be at keeping up a good running pattern. Brilliant. Dan, recapping your 3 bits.
So just make sure you're starting from the right place. Make sure you're injury-free, and you do have that level of aerobic base or cardiovascular fitness, and again, reducing that risk of injury. Secondly, is going to be make sure you're taking recovery, train hard, and make sure you rest hard. And finally, just try and introduce some level of cross-training or strength training to your program, because it really will take a run into the next level.
And Dan will always tell me that whenever you see a new runner, make sure you're setting some realistic goals. As Dan says, just because your friend goes out and runs 10 kilometers every day doesn't mean that's your immediate goal for the next week. Take it slowly, listen to your body, and whatever your body's saying, react to it in the right way. We're going to keep on giving you some more information. Next week, we're going to talk about what happens if it does start to go wrong as you start to run some more. But thereafter, we'll keep on talking as you want to improve your running, get better, and watch out for any aches or pains that might be happening. So for the time being, I'll say goodbye and stay safe.
Cheers, guys. Enjoy your running.
Take care, and bye for now.